The time has come to add a scoring feature to our game. To pull that off, I'm going to use my text tool. I'm going to set my text tool to classic text, dynamic text. I do not want to use TLF text. I want to use classic, dynamic. Now, once I have chosen that, I'm going to just shrink my size down because I know I don't want it to be 48, and I like white on this dark gray background. So what I can do with my text is I can click on screen. It generates a text box. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. And now I could type in some text that goes there. Typically what I like to do so I can work out some size and placement information, this is going to be my score box. So I'll type score and then just put a number. So I'm assuming it's a high scoring game, so I can get up to 4 numbers there. And now I can position this. I don't want it bold, I'll go regular. So you can choose whatever font, size, or other thing that you want. Now what is going to be necessary to make this work properly, in addition to creating this, is we will also need to embed the text into this. And some of you may have tried embedding text into your animations with some success or no success. But with dynamic text, you have 2 options available to you. If you know the letters and numbers that are going to be in this text field, you could type those in now. But if through ActionScript you declare something else, so if instead of score I wanted to change this to some other value, if I said value colon 0000, at that point the only letter that would show up would be the letter E, because that's the only letter score and value have in common. So it's important to embed the text. So again, classic text field, dynamic text. We will have to give it an instance name in a moment. And then we can embed the font. We do that in the property panel by clicking on the embed box. And you can give it a name if you want. And then you specify what glyphs or characters you want to use. I know that I want to use uppercase, lowercase, numbers, and punctuation. Now if I chose all glyphs, we can see that would be 93,514. I probably don't need the entire font set. 237 is still more than I need, and I could just type in, instead of all my uppercase, lowercase, numbers, and punctuation, I could even just type the letters and numbers I know I want in my box below and not select these if I was really concerned about file size. But if I ever tried to pass a number to this text field and I did not embed the glyph, it would not show up. And then you would, and it doesn't give you an error message. It just doesn't show up. So you'll have your dynamic text field and it will show like 2 of your 25 characters, and you start freaking out about, my code's right, why is this not working? I had this happen recently on a project and I was banging my head forgetting I needed to embed the text. It used to be if you made a dynamic text field and chose the font, Flash would embed all of it. But now we have the option to subset it. Because of that, you have to go through this step now. Now I can hit OK. The font is there. I'm going to give my text field an instance name, MSG. And it's not the Magic Spice or Super Spice. MSG, that gives some people headaches and makes other people swell up like balloons and renders foods like Doritos unbelievably addictive. It does. I always wondered why I could sit down with the whole bag of Doritos and mow through all of it. And you read the label, Magic Spice, MSG, there it is. But it's so good. So I've named it MSG, short for message. Now I need to wrap this in a movie clip. I'm also going to just pay attention to, I can see currently it's at 13 and 12 for X and Y, so if I use 10 and 10, that's probably going to be more than close enough, and then that's just easier to code. Otherwise, I could be more particular. See, I can see my X and Y right there. So I'm going to now wrap this in a movie clip. So hit F8, and this is going to be my score message. Click the Export for ActionScript box. Hit OK. And it gives me the message, a definition for this could not be found. One will automatically be generated, blah, blah, blah. Because you've now seen this for the night, I'm going to say don't show that to me again because I know that's the case. And now I can hit OK. All right, so now it's been wrapped. I can hit delete. If I look at my code, I'll see score message. Score message, there it is. Ready to export. We can see here's my font that's going to go with it. So it will be happy and it won't give me scolding messages about I need to embed the font and blah, 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 blah. I've done what Flash wanted. This is going to be another object we're creating. So we go up to the beginning, var, score message, the movie clip equals new score message. Remember that when I'm specifying something from my library, I typically will use an instance name with a lowercase starting letter, and when it's saved in my library, I use the capital letter on the name. But that means when I'm referencing this later on in my code, I can make a connection between this object and the object in my library. So that is the preference for doing that, because my variable name could be anything. I don't have to name it the same as the library export name, but I find it makes the code more readable that way if you have that connection, so you're not having to reference, okay, this object is of what type and where is it? And I didn't agree with that philosophy for a while, but then over time I decided I liked it better and it worked for me. Okay, so now at this point I am going to add child score message and score message dot x is equal to 10. Score message dot y is equal to 10. So that's now created my instance of my score message. It's added it to the display list, and it's specified its x and y position. All good things. Now I just need to run my movie and we'll see if it actually worked. And there it is. It's on screen. It's not doing anything yet, but that will be a very easy fix. I want to increase my score every time I click on an enemy. So that means I need to keep track of my score. If I want to keep track of something that changes over time, that means it's a variable. Items that change over time are a variable. So I can say var score, and because my score is simply going to be a whole number, I could type in number, but because I know it's only going to ever be an integer, integers are whole numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A number could be 1.3698247, all the way up to 15 decimal places if I wanted. I don't need that. Integers are processed very fast by Flash. So I can say my score is an integer. I can even say, and it starts at 0. So my score is at 0. in player loop, I'm going to update my score. So we can say score message dot the text field, which was MSG dot text equals. So what we're doing with this line of code, this one line of code, we're going to update the text property of my score message, the text field inside score message. I almost end up with too many texts in one sentence. That's bad, unless I'm a teenager with unlimited texting on a phone, and then you put a text and a text and a text because that's what they do. But I'm not. So we have a text here. We need to set its value. So I can go score, put a plus sign, and score. So that now sets the text property equal to the word score plus the number value of whatever score happens to be, which started out at 0. So if I run it, we'll see that it starts out at 0. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't get bigger yet. My score isn't changing yet, so we will need to update that. And that's what we will look at next.